MLB says yes to an A's move, but at a cost.
You are Locked On A's, your daily Oakland A's podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, you, how you doing? Welcome to another episode of Locked On A's. It's your first listen. I hope so. You know, we're free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. And of course, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Wayne Coy, host, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, FanDuel. Here's the deal about FanDuel, okay? They want you to know that new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. Take the team you like, bet on them. If you win, you're a new customer, $150 in bonus bets for you. It's the best time ever to join. Locked On wants you to be a member of FanDuel, and don't forget, you got to use the code. Here it is. I had to look to make sure I had it right. It's FanDuel.com/lockedon, and that'll get you started. Okay? Well, lots to talk about today to unpack, and we're going to start off with, in case you missed it, Major League Baseball making an announcement that the Oakland A's have been given unanimous approval to move to Las Vegas.
There was an effort over more than a decade to find a stadium solution in Oakland. It was John Fisher's preference. It was my preference. As a matter of fact, the first trip I made after I was elected commissioner was to Oakland to talk to John about trying to get something done there. It didn't happen. A lot of back and forth, but the fact of the matter is that there was never a deal in Oakland. When it became clear that there was an opportunity to move to Las Vegas, we appointed a relocation committee. I want to thank Mark Antanasio, John Sherman, and John Middleton. I don't think in my time in baseball there has ever been an owner committee that spent more hours in a relatively discrete period of time than this relocation committee. There was no aspect of this issue that was left unturned, including what the Oakland opportunity was, what the Las Vegas opportunity was, how we ended up here, and what Las Vegas was going to do for Major League Baseball. I just, again, have to thank them for the time and effort that they put in. The relocation committee made a set of recommendations to me. I adopted those recommendations without change. We took those recommendations to the Executive Council. They unanimously voted in favor of the relocation. And then today we had a 30-club vote, which was also unanimous in favor of the recommendation. I know this is a terrible day for fans in Oakland. I understand that, and that's why we've always had a policy of doing everything humanly possible to avoid a relocation, and I truly believe we did that in this case. I think it's beyond debate that the status quo in Oakland was untenable. Those of you who have been in the building understand what I'm talking about. And I absolutely am convinced that there was not a viable path forward in Oakland. We look forward to being in Las Vegas. Tremendous support locally for having the A's there. And we do believe over the long haul, Las Vegas will be a great asset to Major League Baseball. I'd like to ask John Fisher to come up and say a few words, and then I'll finish up.
Hello, everybody. As Rob said, today is an incredibly difficult day for Oakland A's fans. It's a great day for Las Vegas. I want to thank the Commissioner, who is tireless in his and his team's efforts to try and find a solution here and to work closely with us and with the Oakland and Las Vegas communities to try and find a solution for a new stadium for the A's, which has always been our goal. I want to thank in Nevada the Governor, Joe Lombardo, who is also tireless in his efforts to make this work, Leader Cannizzaro, Speaker Yeager, and the Clark County Commission in particular with Chairman Jim Gibson. I understand this is an incredibly difficult day for Oakland fans, and I just want to say we gave every effort and did everything we could to try and find a solution there. And it was only in the last couple of years that we began to turn our attention to another market, that being Las Vegas. I'm very excited about the opportunity in Vegas. The fans there are terrific. The success of the Raiders and the Golden Knights has shown, as well as our own AAA team, the Aviators, has shown just how successful professional sports can be in that market. And we really look forward to opening day in 2028 and bringing some of the success of the historical success of the Athletics to Las Vegas. Thank you.
Okay. I can't, well, first of all, I can't believe we're seeing John Fisher on camera and actually speaking. That's rare. It's like a Bigfoot sighting, all of its own. But beyond that, interesting where he says, you know, because of the Golden Knights and the Raiders, could have also thrown in the Aces, I guess, that makes Las Vegas a great sports market. And then I'm thinking, hold up, didn't the Warriors win championships? Didn't they sell out Oracle like every game? Weren't the Raiders, until it started getting weird at the end, weren't they pretty much filling up the place every single week? Yeah. And even the A's, if there's a good product on the field, they've proven that they can put people through those turnstiles, put those butts in those seats. So I really don't know how he gets off saying that, you know, it's a better market. I understand it could be a good market, and nobody's really arguing that. In fact, we're going to talk a little bit about this because I've spent the last 3 days basically defending Oakland as a city, Oakland as a community, the East Bay in general, from people who, most of whom, have never even set foot there. They just know what they think they know, and that's all they know. I'm not even sure how you come to those conclusions. I mean, hey, it's a big city and it's 2023 and they've got their issues. It's an urban environment. But go across the bridge, see what San Francisco looks like. Nobody's saying that about the Giants and their fans and how they are able to play baseball in a city that's got, if not as many, maybe more problems than Oakland does. And you can keep going down the list. Detroit, Chicago, Baltimore, cities, Cleveland, all through Major League Baseball. Most major urban areas right now have issues. And I know that the goal for every one of those communities is to not have issues, but to just blindly point fingers and say, oh, it's Oakland's fault because you lost your 3 teams. Well, I'm going to show you a contrast in style in just a minute. But right now, I want to tell you all about what's going on with our buddies at FanDuel. FanDuel wants you to score big this NFL season. It is football time. I enjoyed watching the Raiders. I didn't think they were going to win this week, and they didn't, but it was still fun to watch. Even more fun if you got a little activity going on the side. And, of course, FanDuel wants to help you out. If you're brand new, here's all you do. You put a $5 money line bet down, and you get $150 in free bonus bets from FanDuel, just to welcome you aboard. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, this is probably the time to do it. It's a great deal. And remember, you can make all kinds of bets, including spreads and player props and over and unders, all of that and more with FanDuel. Enjoy the game. That's what it's all about. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. And hey, have some fun this season with FanDuel, official partner of the National Football League. Hey, we announced last week some pretty big news. I don't know if you missed it or not, but it bears repeating. Locked On has launched the very first ever national 24/7 sports streaming channel. It's right there on YouTube, right where we are right now. Locked On Sports Today, here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts from Locked On, plus national shows covering every league. I was just on Locked On MLB last week. So go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe. Again, it's the first ever, which is really cool, national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Locked On. Okay, back to Commissioner Manfred, and then we'll talk about this this difference in styles, depending on your perspective, okay? But yeah, the commissioner came back on after John Fisher finished his say, and here's what he had to say.
There was an effort. With that, I'm happy to take questions. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Not only the A's, but Major League as well.
I can't yet, please.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So Vegas, obviously, let's talk about the excitement about Vegas and why Vegas fits in with the Major League Baseball and the A's as well.
Yeah, look, I think that, Vegas is a unique market in many ways. Not only is it a great community with the people that live there, but the tourism traffic is a huge advantage for the market. They've had two major professional sports go there. They've been wildly successful with respect to both. We think there's a ton of fans in Las Vegas, a ton of baseball fans, and we think that over the long haul, Las Vegas will be a huge asset to Major League Baseball.
Hi, Casey Harrison, Las Vegas Sun. Just wondering if, because there will be a gap between when the Las Vegas ballpark will be ready, if there have been contingencies about where Oakland will play, from 2025 to 2027.
Yeah, Oakland has a lease. The A's have a lease at the Coliseum in Oakland, so they're going to be there in 2024. And we're exploring a variety of alternatives, including staying at the Coliseum for the remaining years in the interim. Jeff, you want to? Thanks.
Rob, did you waive the relocation fee for the A's? And if so, why did you make that decision?
Yes, I did waive the relocation fees for the A's. As a process matter, what really happens is that I recommend that the relocation fee be waived, and it was then endorsed by the relocation committee, the executive council, and the owners ultimately. We felt that a relocation fee in this particular situation was inappropriate. There was significant expenditures by John Fisher and his family to get the stadium built. It's a $1.5 billion project. That was really important. We also felt that in terms of the public support that was available, the waiving of a relocation fee made that support stronger. And we wanted to go into the market in a way that the people in the market felt like we were making an investment in them and looking to grow the game. That's the best I can do for you in that one.
And that's the best he can do. I will tell you this, having watched Rob Manfred over the years, when these Q&A sessions happen, he starts off kind of loosey-goosey and everything's fun. But the minute he starts to get some questions that are a little hot, like that last one from Jeff, you'll notice that he starts saying quite a bit. In fact, there's a little drinking game. It's called the Rob Manfred game. Feel free to watch that clip again. And every time he says take a drink. No, don't. It wouldn't be good. It's almost like the Josh McDaniels game. Same kind of thing. Anyway, interesting that he was talking about relocation and the A's moving to Las Vegas and not having to pay a relocation fee. But wait, there is a price that's attached to this whole thing, and it's called a flip tax. And it's part of the agreement that the owners just voted unanimously to approve. all 30 owners in lockstep, you know that there had to be something coming back their way. I mean, they're not getting a relocation fee. So they held John Fisher's feet to the fire to a degree, okay? It's a 10-year flip tax, and the way it works is if John Fisher sells the A's between now and 2028, so for 5 years, he is liable to pay a 20% tax on whatever the purchase price is to Major League Baseball, which then gets divvied up amongst the other 29 owners, okay? So if you're thinking of the pump and dump, it comes at a price. Now that's 20% of the purchase price, again, till 2028. 2029, it drops down to 10%, and then it declines each year all the way through 2033. So it's all told 10 years, but the heaviness is, of course, right at the beginning, first 5 years, before they've even broken ground. A lot of people think that that's what this is about. Get the approval to go to Vegas, start building a stadium, make a big profit. So the owners, thinking maybe that's the deal, they had their say, okay? Remember, no relocation fee. They had to get something, right? And thanks to a Rob Manfred decision, there isn't a relocation fee, which some say was probably north of $300 million. Well, they're not going to get it. And then, of course, if schools over stadiums is successful, we've talked a lot about that. We've had them on. We're going to continue to check in on the progress of that. If that happens and the approved state's public funding of $386 million goes away, just doing the math here, responsibility now of finding that money goes right back to John Fisher. So 386 mil. Then, of course, there's the delta, which they've already said they're going to be responsible for, the A's. So that means any overruns, anything over $1.5 billion is going to be on the A's. And of course, that 386 million is going to go in there to buffer that a little bit. Well, every economist that's actually looked at this thing and has spent time kind of penciling it out has said to do this for $1.5 billion is probably a pipe dream. And the reality is it's going to end up being much more expensive. So where's that money coming from? We don't know. We're not sure if John Fisher is going to try to sell part of the team. And I don't know if that falls underneath this 10-year flip tax rule, if he brings on an investor or another owner. But he's said that, he's having issues being able to make it in Oakland. So because of that, he needs the revenue sharing. Okay. So we'll have to just wait and see what happens here. So that's everything that's going on with Major League Baseball and the owners and the tax and the vote. So you got that side of it. But on the other side, and this is specifically for everybody who took me and a whole lot of other A's fans to task over the last couple of days, basically saying it's the fans' fault. And if not saying it's the fans' fault, saying that it's the city of Oakland's fault. And I'm not saying that they're completely without some of the blame here, of course. But playing the blame game and sticking your finger out and pointing it at the fans is a massive mistake. In case you didn't know it, this is one of the most loyal fan bases ever, and you're going to see that right now.
Oakland, a big crowd, over 54,000 strong.
They say baseball is a game of failure, but we see it as a game of triumph. And those highs wouldn't feel so good without the lows, and the lows show us who we are. A community that builds memories together, laughing, cheering, crying, connecting with our heroes and our loved ones. We once played in our front yards envisioning the bottom of the ninth. Now we make family out of total strangers at the ballpark. This is what it's all about. And it's way bigger than just the game on the field.
It's my privilege and honor to share with you the greatest game of all.
I've literally felt that place shake, and I'm not talking, 89 earthquake Candlestick Park shake. I'm talking the fans are so loud that the whole place is vibrating. It's an amazing feeling.
The first game I attended at the Coliseum when I was 14 years old.
And I remember going to games with my grandpa the most and holding that really close to my heart because it's the A's and it's my grandpa.
They've been the backdrop of so many fond family memories and walk-off wins and all sorts of things that happened at that building.
Attended my first baseball game at the Coliseum in 1982.
Going to A's games as a youth, my parents couldn't even speak English well. They would feel welcomed. It was a really fun time growing up being an A's fan.
My family were raised as A's fans, and that's what they were doing with me.
My mom bought me my first set of season tickets. My first game, 1 or 2 years old, and I remember it was like Looney Tunes Day.
I just fell in love with the city of Oakland, the magic of the A's and the people, the diversity of the games are so much fun, just has kept me coming back.
1989, I remember that my mom mentioned that my dad was in Jack London to watch the game.
Oakland A's take.
That's my first memories of, A's.
This is a multi-generational team. It's more than just a game. It's a memory.
I go on Twitter and I see this tweet saying the A's have a binding agreement with Las Vegas.
It felt like a family member died.
It's been a constant in my life.
I've met some of the best friends in my life. They're pretty much family. It's civic pride, it's culture, it's revenue, it's jobs. It gives kids a place to spend their summers.
My kids are in love with this team. And how can you let kids fall in love with a team and then relocate them? So why are we going to continue to support this franchise when it could all just be taken away? If fans mean that little to them, then why be a fan?
It has always been baseball's policy and preference to stay put. I feel sorry for the fans in Oakland. I do not like this outcome. I understand why they feel the way they do. I think that the real question is, what is it that Oakland was prepared to do? There is no Oakland offer.
By way of this letter and its attachments, I want to make it clear to you, MLB, the relocation committee, and the owners of the other 29 teams, that Oakland very much had a specific and concrete proposal on the table. We had a detailed and mutually agreed upon plan and schedule. And after 2 years of negotiations, we were, I believe, extremely close to finalizing a deal with the current ownership of the A's. First, there most certainly is a site for a stadium in Oakland and detailed plans for that site. Second, it is not accurate statement that there was no offer from Oakland. Oakland has made the A's multiple offers over the last several years. All have been rejected, despite the fact that Oakland's current offer includes more money for both on-site and off-site infrastructure than the A's themselves requested.
Had the A's just said, we want 9 acres of Howard Terminal to just build a ballpark, I think it would be done by now. Like, it would be under construction or done by here in 2023.
You don't build a stadium based on the club activity alone. The community has to provide support.
There is still a deal within reach here if you had an ownership group that wanted to reach that deal.
The crowds, the turnout, the support for the team is a huge positive, reinforces my view that Oakland is a major league market.
I remember the wild card game 2019. You know that game was obviously sold out. Mount Davis was filled.
And you see how quickly the fans have gobbled up every ticket in this ballpark.
It's unbelievable.
How special is that for you when you see that?
We just have a great fan base.
I am compelled to address some of your recent comments about attendance. It's true that attendance has remained depressed in Oakland post-pandemic, but I don't think that would be shocking to anyone who has witnessed incredible underinvestment in the team during this period. As we saw in 2019, when the A's were competitive, the fans turned out.
We've always been a very strong fan base. We've always supported the team.
Don't tell me that there's no fans here. They didn't all just go away in 4 years. All of it that's happened within the last 4 years is really the boycott.
I started seeing things turn in the wrong direction that night where I received the first phone call from Dave Cavill saying it's going to leak, so wanted to give you a heads up that we are going to announce a land deal in Las Vegas.
Leaving this franchise with a stripped-down roster, the lowest in payroll.
There was a time when Oakland had some of the top payrolls in all of Major League Baseball, and now always consistently at the very bottom.
This lack of investment is, I believe, a disservice to the team, to the league, and baseball fans everywhere. Despite this chronic underinvestment, a near doubling in season ticket prices, and despite the ownership group making it very apparent that they were looking to leave, the fans organized something remarkable. The reverse boycott amply demonstrated just how deep the bond is between this team and this city. Frankly, the fans themselves did what the A's current owners have chosen not to do for the last few years. They packed the stadium.
I think Stu Clary said, well, why don't we just fill the Coliseum and just show them that we're actually here?
Not going to games, while understandable, feeds the false narrative that the A's fans cannot support the team or will not support the team, somehow don't deserve a team, when I know that's not true.
Despite everything the ownership has done to them, with lack of investment, with stripping down the roster, with trading away their best players, with ignoring them, just going away. And on that one night, they made magic.
We've been in Oakland for 55 years, so fifth inning. I want for an entire bat, everyone to just stand up, silent, and then we'll do our thing.
I was walking through the tunnel to 149 right field bleachers, and it was completely quiet.
You just saw people start to stand up.
Oh my God, it's working. They're doing this.
Every other time I've been in a quiet stadium like that, it was either like a moment of silence because someone died, or like this was a critical play and your team just gave up a home run or something, right? But this was so different.
These aren't like paid actor fans who are just showing up for one night. This is what you actually have, and this could be normal. This shouldn't be some special occasion. This should be reality. This could be reality.
Silent and now getting very loud at the Coliseum. So you can hear the chant in the background. Here come the chants, fifth inning, just like it was back in San Francisco.
And this chant is what you hear in A's games in the fifth inning.
As you can hear, the cheer has gone from coast to coast and has reached our nation's capital. You can't hear with the pitch count because of the crowd, and now time has gone. Things have gotten loud here. This is certainly a new experience in 2023 at the Coliseum.
Oakland had done so much to try and make this work. Man, this shit matters. Like, we matter to each other. The city matters to us.
And if the A's remain rooted in Oakland with a committed ownership team, I can promise you, the fans will keep showing up.
It would be a positive if anyone votes no.
Man, this matters. This matters. Like, it's part of being human.
There is no way that you could have watched that last 10 minutes of video and still, with a clear conscience, with any sort of wherewithal, be able to point a finger at the fan base of the Oakland Athletics, who are staying away and have stayed away simply for one reason, because of the person who owns the team and the way they operate that team and the way they treat their fan base. That changes, the stadium will be full. Guaranteed. That's from the Summer of Cell documentary, which is coming out soon. We've had the two directors on, Gabriel and Jarrett, and we'll have them back, and they can let us know how things are going. I know that they were at the owners' meetings in Arlington, so they certainly had an opportunity to take in all of that, and I'm sure it'll be part of the film as well. Favorite part in the whole thing is hearing Dave Kaval say, "We've got a great fan base," 3 years ago. All right, so that's it for today. I want to thank you for being here. We're going to keep our eyes and ears on this entire thing, but mainly today I wanted you to see that contrast in styles. Doom, gloom, death, it's all horrible, coming from Major League Baseball and John Fisher. And then the exuberance, the joy, the multi-generational heirloom, the happiness that exudes from the A's fan base if you just treat them right. That's all. Appreciate you being here. Don't forget, Locked On has launched its first ever national 24/7 streaming network. Locked On. Yeah, plus national shows, you get those. Locked On Sports today on YouTube, and you can subscribe right there for the first ever national 24/7 streaming channel, which is very, very cool. Happy to be a part of that, and happy to have had you along for the ride. Come on back. Don't forget to subscribe. Give us a thumbs up if you can down below so we can spread the channel, and we'll see you next time. I'm Wayne Coy. Until then, you know what to do. You keep on swinging.